Hi, my name is Sandra. Welcome back to my channel, and I figured today we would do a end of year TBR. And be warned, I have 20 books. I'm gonna try to go quickly through them. But yeah, I'm very ambitious. I'm filming this like 1 week into December, so that means I have 3 weeks, almost like 21 days to read 20 books. Granted, some of these books are started and almost finished, but some of these books I've never even started yet, so I don't know, I'm just feeling really ambitious and I feel like I want to read a lot before the end of the year. Not just for like a goal setting type of way, but also because I just want to enjoy and finish some of the progress that I have made in the past year for some books, and I just want to have like 2024 with a fresh start, and I want to like stop the habit of picking up multiple books at once. Not like multiple books, like up to 5 books is fine, but I got into a really bad habit in the last year and a half where I'm like currently reading 20 to 30 books. So I think by setting myself this challenge, like it doesn't matter if I only read 5 or 10 books out of 20, at least I'll be better off starting the new year than how I started a new year this year. So that's the goal for this year, and that's the goal for this month. So yeah, let's go through the 20 books from all kinds of genre, as well as one French book. So that's the other thing. I did not stick to my resolutions reading wise, so I did not read a French book per month. I did read, I think, maybe 1 or 2 French books this year. So I'm really trying to be more intentional with my choices and starting off the new year this month. So yeah, let's see how it goes, and I'll go through the books now. First book is Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman. I just got this in the mail. I just opened it up. This is going to be a lovely and quick read, one of my most anticipated books of the year, so I had to pick it up and can't wait to read it. And it's giving me like holiday vibes, although it probably has nothing to do with holidays. But it's just a warm feeling of this graphic novel series that is really warming to my heart, which reminds me of like Christmas time or holiday season. So yeah, this follows the relationship of Nick and Charlie. They are both teenagers in Britain, and yeah, and then we follow how they come to terms with their relationship, with their sexual orientation, and it's just such a great series. And the Netflix adaptation is also amazing, so I highly recommend it. Either get into the Netflix show or get into the graphic novel series, but yeah, I just really love it, and I've talked about this at length on my channel multiple times. It's just so self-explanatory at this point. The next book is Girls Against God by Jenny Haval. I've always wanted to read anything by Jenny Haval. It's translated fiction. This is translated fiction, and I believe the author is Norwegian. And yeah, I heard that her books are very like graphic, very disturbing, and very poignant, so I really can't wait to read this one. I want to start with this one, and then I want to read Paradise Lost sometime next year. So I just really want to read something by her before the end of the year, because she was one of the authors that I really wanted to pick up this year. Then we have our French book. We have Cucume by Michel Jean. I think it's a Quebec author. It's literally Quebec / Canadian / indigenous literature, and it's just something that's very close to me because obviously I grew up in Quebec, and Quebec has a really long history with, you know, anyways, I don't want to get into it, but all this to say that this is like important reading as Canadians, you know, to understand what's going on and to really be, you know, receptive to indigenous literature. I never hear anyone talk about this, and again, I guess it's because it's also written in French. So I have read a lot of Canadian indigenous literature that were written in English, so I'm really excited to read something that is written in French. So it says here, I don't know if I should read this in French because a lot of my audience is not French speaking, but this story is basically about a orphan girl that is going to share her life and learn the language of the Pequawakami. And yeah, so she's just basically going to learn about, you know, their freedom, how they, you know, travel around, and how they are nomads basically. And it just seems like a very compelling book, and I think there's a sequel already out, so I'm most likely going to pick up the sequel sometime next year. Then we have the Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and this is like a dark academia And I believe it follows like 5 or 6 students that are part of this Alexandrian society. This has to do with the concept of the Alexandria library that was destroyed many centuries back. So I think this is, yeah, 6 competitor, and I got the version that was self-published because I really love it, but I have yet to read this one. Then I'm going to read the traditionally published version as well as the sequel, and I think the 3rd book is coming out sometime in January, so that's why I wanted to finally crack this one open. I've been meaning to read this for 2 years, so it's kind of ridiculous considering how much I love dark academia. I literally did not read this yet, and it's embarrassing at this point. Then I want to finish the vampire books that I picked up. I have Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's a classic. And then I also have Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. And this book is introduced by Carmen Maria Machado. And yeah, so I definitely want to read these 2. These are classical vampire texts, and Carmilla came before Dracula, and so I kind of want to read them together because these are both seminal texts in the vampire literature. So yeah, really want to read these 2. I'm already like a quarter way into Dracula, and Carmilla, I had picked it up when I went on vacation to Mexico, but it was just not the vibes, it was not the mood, so I did not continue. So yeah, basically that's that. And similarly with the vampire themes, I want to finish The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova, and this is kind of like dark academia, history, and also having to do with Dracula, Count Dracula, and specifically it's like the retelling of, it's kind of like the retelling of Vlad the Impaler and how that is the inspiration for Dracula, but also has to do with the author's father's real life research. I'm very confused. I have to go on a deep dive because I don't understand. This is like fictional, but it's also historical, so I'm very confused, and I want to film like a whole reading vlog because this is a massive book, and I'm going to be honest, I picked up the audiobook probably like 5 or 10 times and I just gave up on it, so I'm gonna have to restart. I got 100 pages into 600. I'm gonna have to restart from the beginning and just, you know, get through it. And I really want to, so I just wanted like a colder, cooler month to like dedicate my time to this book, and I'm going to do it hopefully this month. Then I have All About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is embarrassing. I picked this up like every month and then I just dropped it. And it's not that I don't like it, but it hasn't really resonated with me that much. But I remember the last time I picked it up, it started to resonate with me more. So I just want to finish this up and, you know, give my opinions, share my opinions. I think it's fine that I'm reading this through a course of a year because it's like such small vignettes of like what she learned about love and growing up and her friendships. So I think it's fine to just, you know, pick it up and read it as you go. So yeah, I just want to finish it because, you know, it's about time. Another book that I picked up but I haven't finished yet, and I picked this up for research on my novel, and I'm halfway through, so I just have like about 3 or 4 chapters, and it's really fascinating. It's The Joy of Pain, or also known as Schadenfreude, or The Dark Side of Human Nature by Richard H. Smith. And yeah, it's just basically all about Schadenfreude and why do we have pain at the expense of other people's misery. So yeah, why do we feel satisfied sometimes that other people have a hardship, especially people that we don't like, etc, etc. It's a lot with like dark psychology and psychology in general, and I think it's fascinating. Alright, so this next book, I honestly should start over, but at the same time, I'm so not committing to starting over. I'm committing to like finishing this finally, and next year I promised myself I'm going to read the rest of the series and I'm going to watch the rest of the series. So it's the second book in the Game of Thrones series by George R.R. Martin, and it's a Clash of Kings. And I kid you not, guys, I have like this much left, but it's actually this much because this is like resources, or like, you know, like it's all the appendix and stuff. So I actually have about 100 or so pages, and I got through it, you know, I got through it, and I read this back in 2021 or 2022, I don't even remember. So I just want to finish it. I have not picked this up this entire year, and I think it's because I'm missing like the winter weather to pick this up. So hopefully if I finish this, I'm gonna read the 3rd and 4th and 5th book, as well as the House of Dragon book, I believe, next year. So I don't know, hopefully, wish me luck, but it's about time I get back into high fantasy because I miss it, I love it, and I haven't read enough of it this year, so I really miss high fantasy. Okay, another book is a doozy. It's a feminist text, and it's A Vindication of the Rights of Women by Mary Wollstonecraft. And if you recognize that name, it's because this is Mary Shelley's mother, and yeah, so she was like one of the first feminist icons, and this is a big book. It's about almost 400 pages, and I have an audiobook of this on Audible, so I just want to like read it, and I want to gather information, and I want to just read something by Mary Wollstonecraft because she's a fascinating and empowering person, and I've been reading a lot about Mary Shelley and Mary Wollstonecraft in another book, so I just, when I get into someone or I get into something, I just want to see it all the way through, even though it takes me some time. I just love to research about Shelley and Wollstonecraft a lot, so that's where I'm at right now, and I just really want to read this book. Then I have like more like creative, artsy, essay type books. First book I have here is Zen and the Art of Writing by Ray Bradbury, and it's just basically his advice on writing. And I've always wanted to read this book. I've had it on my shelf for a very long time, and it's one writing book that I have not read yet, and a lot of people have, so I really want to get through this. It's very short too, so I don't think it's going to take me much time, and I'm just really excited to read this. And then I also have The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. So the thing is, I was enjoying this, and I like got like a quarter way in, but I wanted to like, you know, enjoy it. I wanted to read like a fragment a day, but sometimes what happens is when I start to like say, oh, I'm gonna read a fragment a day, and then I have 10 books that I read fragments from a day, what ends up happening is that at some point I like start to sit down and like realize, okay, if I do this, I'm never gonna finish these books and I'm gonna lose interest. So I might as well like read fragments of this book in a week's time and choose 1 or 2 books to read fragments for, and not 10 books. So that's where I'm at with this book. I just want to read it in the next week, you know, still enjoy it, still like take in the information about creative living and whatnot, but not like, you know, pick it up for a fragment today and never pick it up again, basically. Especially since this was like one of my most highly anticipated books this year, and I really enjoy it. So yeah. Then I have 2 books from the Thought catalog. One I'm currently almost finished with, and is This Was Meant to Find You When You Needed It the Most by Charlotte Freeman, and I really enjoy it. Again, it's one of those fragment things that I'm reading, so I just want to finish this one, and then I want to get into this one. And the reason why I want to finish this one as well is because I read 2 of her other works, and it's by Bianca Sparacino, and this one is The Strength in Our Scars, and it's very short, very fragmented. And I also have the audiobook for this one because I have Audible right now, so I want to listen to all the audiobooks that I have on the Plus catalog. This is not sponsored by Audible, but they should sponsor me because I've been really enjoying using Audible the last 2-3 months. So yeah, I just want to get through this one, and yeah, and I just am writing something that's very similar but different. These are good like inspiration points to get you thinking about how you view life yourself, how you view your dreams, relationships, love, passion, etc. So yeah, I've been really into like growing myself and being spiritually aligned with my life, with my desires, with my dreams, with my voice this year, because I've been healing a lot from last year, and I really am at a good place now, and I never thought I would actually say that. I'm at an amazing place, at least mentally and inside me and emotionally. So I just love reading stuff like this right now because I feel like now I'm more receptive and open to hearing it and to enjoying it and to see the brighter days from life. Although I know like there are a lot of dark days and a lot of dark days to come, doesn't matter because, you know, life is all about like the ups and downs. So yeah. So I have the next few books that I need to finish again. So I have Britney Spears' memoir, The Woman in Me, and I'm like halfway through, or a third way through, and I was filming a vlog for this. So the reason why I don't pick up some books sometimes, or like I stop, is because like I get tired of filming vlogs or filming like impressions. So I definitely want to finish the vlog, and I definitely want to finish the book because her story is really fascinating, and I really do support her and I want the best for her. So yeah, definitely want to finish that vlog. And 2 other books that I picked up this year that I want to finish and that I have audiobooks for. And the first one is Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants by Robin Wall Kimmerer. I don't know if some of you know, but I am obsessed with nature and plants. And this year I've been like really like fascinated with mushrooms, fungi, nature, forests. So I think we're gonna see a lot more of that next year, as I am like continuously reading tales like this and, you know, wisdom of that kind. And yeah, I just love this book. It's very beautiful. Robin Kimmerer is very artful. She weaves so many things into her narrative, from the personal to the collective to the earth. And yeah, it's highly recommended. Everyone that's ever read this book has loved it. So, and now I can say I know why, because it really is a transformative type of book. So I really do want to finish this and give it like the love that it deserves. Then I have Stoner by John Williams, and this is a book that I wanted to read for a very long time. So I started it, but again, I was filming a vlog. Then I lost my audiobook hold, and now I got it back again, so I want to finish it. And this is simply just an interesting and fascinating story for all the students and all the creative people out there that, you know, decide to follow like English as their major, decide to follow a more creative path, a different path. And yeah, it's just such a seminal work again in academia, in following, you know, the arts, the liberal arts. And I just really am enjoying it so far. I'm not that far in, but so far I've been highlighting a lot of passages that just feel so real and true to me. And I think a lot of people that end up reading this can feel that, especially people that love books and love writing and love, you know, academia. Definitely they can find themselves in these pages. The last 2 books that I want to read is poetry, and one I have already started, and it's Storm for the Living and the Dead by Charles Bukowski. And this collection is uncollected and unpublished poems, and yeah, some of them are really raunchy. Charles Bukowski is a fascinating character. I don't condone his actions or anything. Honestly, like, he's not like my favorite poet, but I do enjoy reading his works, and a lot of people do enjoy reading his works, but it also comes with a disclaimer, like, this was not the best man out there. He was very misogynistic, and he was very like self-involved, big ego, but also he also did recognize his limitations and how sucky he was, which is just an interesting contradiction at times when you read between the lines. And in that area, I feel like I relate so much to him, so it's so weird, but I do enjoy reading him, unfortunately, so I don't know what to tell you. And then for the last book and the last poetry book, we have Wade in the Water by Tracy K. Smith, poems. And yeah, so basically I'm not too sure what this poetry collection is about, but Tracy is an African American poet, and she's also the poet laureate of the United States. So I heard only great things about her work, and I am very excited to read this. Really, these are like polar opposites. We go from like the most non-diverse person to the most like diverse person you could have in poetry. And I think like life is about balance, and I think life is about serving multiple things and understanding like the art and the artist. And I don't think we can separate the art and the artist, but I do think that like everything within its context and everything within, you know, limits, obviously. So I don't really believe in censorship, but I also don't believe in like glorifying people that are not great people. So that's why I always give a heads up when I talk about Charles Bukowski, and that's why I like to highlight, you know, diverse voices, and that's why I'm always reading diversely. I don't read only like the dead white guy. I also read the very much living, you know, brown girl or whatever, you know. And as a person myself, I'm white passing, but I have immigrant parents, and like, you know, I've just been like in Canada, we just I don't know why I'm always talking about this all the time, but yeah, I talk about this because it's important to talk about this, but still recognize the literary canon that we still live in, right? So changes within, changes outside of the canon, but also recognizing that we are still part of this canon that is still alive because we still live in a patriarchal system. So yeah, but yeah, that was my list of 20 books that I want to finish reading and also read. So I hope you got something new out of this video. I hope you found a new book or a book that might like tickle your fancy. Let me know what you are reading for the end of the year. Let me know if your TBR is as ridiculously high as mine is, because I'm just like, I am a overachiever but under deliverer. Like, I don't know. I personally have no concept of time, so I always think I can do like a million things, and then I'm always like doing half of those things. So it's sad, it's the reality, but we can hope, okay? We can hope, and if I don't get to these books this month, I'll get to them next month or the month after, and it is what it is. So I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you're reading some great books, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!